Hello and welcome to the Claret Blue podcast Q&A. It's Monday the 12th of January. I'm your host Dan Rowlinson, joined by John Townley. John, how's things?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. It feels a bit weird not to have a midweek game. Do you think we've had so many games packed around, and then obviously no Premier League game as well last weekend, being Spurs in the FA Cup. So yeah, slightly weird, but kind of full focus at the moment, I guess, on transfers. So for that reason, it does feel a bit strange. We've had so many games, but now it's sort of a different focus at the moment. Yeah,
nice to take a little bit of a breather and talk about some different bits and pieces, and then return for Everton at home on the weekend, Sunday as well, isn't it? So a little bit of a wait as well. Let's dive into the questions then. First of all, Mike from Criccieth. Dan, well done, mate. You got it right. Have a brew to celebrate. I'm delighted I got Criccieth nailed. So, Mike, thank you for tuning in as always. I wanted to start off with that as a little celebration. I've got a cuppa as well, by the way. That's literally it. I'm just going to move straight on to somewhere completely different. Sweden and Marcus. How do you assess Ollie's celebration in front of Palhinha? 100% on purpose or just an accident that Palhinha is there? Obviously, 100% on purpose. And what I say, fair play, Ollie Watkins. Go for it, mate.
Yeah, I didn't see anything wrong with it. I think, obviously, Thomas Frank will blame has blamed Watkins, essentially saying that it's provoked Palhinha.
Could have just walked past him. Yeah,
but Ollie Watkins is not doing that if Palhinha didn't do that, and that. Do you know what I mean? So I would argue that Palhinha's provoked Villa into celebrating in front of him, but it was in front of 9,000 Villa fans as well. I think Palhinha's got to be the bigger person, just accept that you've lost the football match, even though you've tried to. Injure a few Villa players on the way, and he successfully did, to be fair. So, there was no shock that we gave a bit back. I like that. I think it's good to have a bit of needle and a bit of fight. Not literally fighting. Don't want to see players fighting getting sent off or anything. But I like that our Villa players are. We did a video, didn't we, earlier in the season, Dan, about being more feisty and being a bit more kind of sticking up for ourselves a little bit. And I do think we are doing that this season.
And I still think we need to see more of that on the pitch as well, with some of the decisions that are deemed to be, we think it should be a foul or we think it should be a yellow card. I would like to see a bit more of a fuss. I also don't really like it, but that's the way of the modern game, that the more you kick up a fuss, the more likely it is that the referee will do something about it. So I do think we should do more of that even. So, yeah, I don't mind a bit of a needle either, as long as it's fair. I think Palhinha would have had more reason to do what he did at full time if Watkins was celebrating in front of the home end. I think that's a little bit different.
That's different.
It was in front of 9,000 away fans. That's like having a Villa stand. Like, do you know what I mean? Like that's as good as a home end as you could get, 9,000. So it's absolutely fine. Yeah. Just your thoughts on the game as a whole. I thought we played really well in the first half, and I know you always like an away win, FA Cup or otherwise. So a nice day out, I presume.
Yeah, that first half was the most comfortable I've ever been, I think, during a Villa match. Spurs were abject, thought they were terrible. Villa come under a bit of pressure in that second half. The one sort of criticism I had was that I think we were a little bit lax at the start of that second period. I think you have to expect something from Tottenham. Not to pick on Morgan Rogers, but there was one moment where he tried to do like a flick on the edge of the box. I don't know if you remember that. And that has led to a corner, I think, after that. And then Spurs are up and obviously they get their goal. But we've still done a good job on them. I don't really think we had to play particularly well, although we did in the first half. We were comfortable, but I think if that was a full flowing Villa, I think we could have probably put 3 or 4 past them, to be fair. But you've got the job done. You're in the next round for the cup, and I wasn't surprised, to be honest. I thought we'd go there and win, and we did.
The draw for the 4th round is tonight, as this episode comes out. I believe it's around 6:30 on TNT Sports. And I think Steven Gerrard is part of the draw because obviously Liverpool are on. So I assume he's part of the punditry team. If you're watching this on Tuesday, you know what happened with the draw. If you're watching this or listening to this as it comes out, we don't know either. I want to do a quick discussion point about Birmingham City. Honestly, Dan, I don't get your reluctance to want to play Blues in the Cup. I'd love to draw them. Rivalry is what football is about. It's like you're scared to play them in case we lose. I just don't get it. Now, kind of right. If any Blues fans are watching this, kind of not. I'm not scared of
Welcome.
Blues.
Welcome to the podcast.
They might be watching, who knows? I'm not scared of Blues, but it is okay, let's flip this a different way. couple of weeks ago when I said I think Villa will 100% be in the Champions League next season, I was told by you and other fans, you can't say that. There's nothing guaranteed in football. Yeah. Well, I think Villa beat Blues 9 times out of 10, but we're not guaranteed to beat them every single time. There is that 1% chance or that 10% chance that 1 out of 10, they do beat us. At their place, more so than ours. If it was drawn at Villa Park, either way, they're not very good, Birmingham City. I think we'd beat them more often than not. But if I'm being told, well, nothing's guaranteed, well, there is then a chance that we could lose to Birmingham. And that would be disastrous, right? And if you don't think it's disastrous, you don't get it. They would hold that over us for a very, very long time. Oh, this Super Emery team, they're going for the title, but we beat them and they'd lord that for the next 20 years till we play them again. Now, if they earn the right to get promoted and we play them in the league, that's different because they've earned the right to come and play us, in my opinion. To get the luck of the draw that we happen to play them randomly, I don't want to be involved with them in any way. We know it can spill over, not just on the fans, but we've seen it spill over on the pitch with fans running on and punching players. I don't want any part of that game. It's not I'm scared of Blues and my knees are trembling. But if I'm being told, well, nothing's guaranteed, well, there is a chance then that Blues could beat us, and I don't want that to happen. I'd rather play literally anybody else.
Yeah, I don't know if it's... I know you said if you play them 10 times, then maybe it's once. I don't know if you... Do you mean that? I don't know if they would.
Well, I suppose you could extend it to 99 times out of 100 then. Or 99 times out of 1,000.
Yeah, I think you say that it's probably not true. But I know what you're saying. For me, it's more we've kind of completed the fixture, to be honest. We've got nothing to really do against Blues. If we get Blues, then fair enough. I think we'll beat them, and that'll be that. But I'll wake up the next morning and nothing in my life will be different. Without, I don't know if that is respectful, but with respect, that is the course of play, really. I actually had a text off one of my mates yesterday when we were chatting about the FA Cup, and one of the comments from them was that, but you're scared to play Blues, aren't you? And it's not that. I responded to it saying we've completed it. This fixture we've done. You don't get better than your captain scoring at the opposition stadium, being assaulted and winning 1-0. It doesn't get much better than that. We've got nothing else to do. Of course, if we draw them, then it's going to be a big thing. But at the same time, if we beat them, as I say, I think it will just wear off really quickly. It's not
much for us to
I don't know. The way of sort of explaining that would be if Blues were as good as we are and have kind of the upper hand as such, and then we are the team who don't, win very often, or if at all, really, in the last years. I actually think Blues fans would probably want to play us because it's like we've got a great chance of beating them and we're better than them. Whereas the Villa fans, or some Villa fans anyway, including myself, I'm not bothered about beating them again. It'd be great if we do, because it's still a rivalry in a derby, and when that game comes, it will feel But right now, sitting here, I'm not fussed if we get Blues or West Brom or whoever else, so Grimsby. I'm not too fussed, but I think some fans will be, and that's fine. It's just not on my radar, to be honest with you. But I think for Blues fans, they would want it if they're in our position. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I suspect most people listening to this already know whether we've drawn Blues or not, so I'm not going to spend any further time on this. By the way, if we do have a tasty cup draw, we probably will react to it. Like if we do get Blues tonight, we'll probably come back on and do something, because that would then be worth actually speaking about it in more detail. But yeah, for now, everyone knows that we've got, Portsmouth away. They lost to Arsenal, so it won't be them. And Blues, whoever they get, I think they'll probably lose, and that'll be it anyway. Right, that's enough FA Cup chat for now. On to some Premier League mathematical chat that I said was banned, but I'm going to do it anyway. Mark Bosnich's right foot says, "Hi lads, I've been doing some simple maths. Villa have achieved an average of 2.05 points per game this season. If we continue at this rate until the end of the season, we should have a final total of 78 points. However, we've had an amazing run of results, and duplicating that in the second half of the season is unlikely due to just how good the run was. So if we say a drop off to 70 points, that means Newcastle or Manchester United or whoever would need to achieve an average of 2.2 points per game across the final 17 games of the season to catch us, which won't happen. The only team who can stop Villa getting Champions League is Aston Villa." Another confirmation of how I feel about it. If we don't achieve it from this position, it's on us. We won't have won enough games, which would be a travesty. I don't see, if we continue any kind of form, 2 clubs beating that form by another 3 or 4 victories. Just that doesn't seem feasible.
Yeah. No, I think that's what everyone probably thinks. If anyone's gonna, as you say there, stop Villa from getting in the position that we want to be in, it probably is us, because we have exhibited the form that you would need to sustain probably a title challenge. But I don't think we're going to go that far. I think we will. I don't think we'll replicate what the form that we've shown in the last 2 or 3 months, but I think it'll be near enough that, and I think that will be enough to get to around 70 points, which should be fine. And it's just made a bit easier for us, I suppose, that so that those teams beneath us, we can't count on them at the moment. Chelsea are so unknown. Man United. Newcastle have shown a little bit in recent weeks, but again, so far away from us in terms of performance levels and consistency, all those different things. So it's going to take a hell of a job from those teams beneath us, and also a bit of a blow up from us, to be honest.
Yeah.
But those things can happen. We did see, say, a couple of seasons ago, we did fall away a little bit in the last few weeks, but managed to get over the line eventually, mainly because Spurs failed to take advantage of some slip-ups from us. And in the end, we finished, 2 points ahead of them, which was actually a lot closer than I think a lot of people would probably remember, if that makes sense. Whereas I think this season we have a chance to be hopefully with a bigger buffer in the final few weeks of the season, and that has to be the aim. We have to just keep churning out wins, which I'm not going to talk about in this one, but it's why in previous episodes we always talk about how many wins we have left and how many wins we can get the next few weeks, because it's so important that we kind of treat these next matches as we need to get over the finish line as quickly as possible. Because I really don't. Nobody wants the last few weeks of the season to be a situation where Villa had it in the bag and are now, stuttering, and they've got a couple of players injured, and they've got the Europa League to come as well. What are they going to do? We can avoid that, quite feasibly. So, that's really important.
And that points gap won't be to Spurs, I'm pretty certain. Just on those, as we've played them in the FA Cup, I said this on the podcast maybe months ago or years ago. I find it fascinating how we've been able to bridge and exceed that gap on Tottenham. Now, I know it's a long time now that we've been back in the Premier League, but when we got promoted, when we played Spurs on the opening day, it felt like we were a million years away from being that kind of club. They're this big 6 club in this big fancy stadium. I don't know whether they are a big 6 club, to be perfectly honest. They won't be in my big 6.
It depends what we want to, because we can talk about this. So when you say big 6, then what are you sort of referring to?
I think, the big 6 used to be the top 4. Arsenal, Man United, Chelsea, Liverpool was the top 4 when that became a thing in the, O'Neill era from a Villa perspective. It was always the top 4. Man City's money and then Tottenham's money makes it a big 6. If it is being judged on commercial, I get it. They bring in loads of money. But for me, if you're categorising a big 6, I'd go off like history as much as anything.
Yeah.
I think clubs like Everton, Sunderland, Villa, they're as equal to those clubs in terms of stature. That's where I identify as big.
That's it. It's been, because I've seen some debate on it. I saw a video from, was it The Overlap, or it's like a fan debate or something from, I think it was back in November, which I missed, which I'm annoyed I missed, because we could have really gone in on that. And they were talking about the big 6 and how Villa have taken over Spurs. Because the big 6 was never a big 6, really. It was just, as you said, a commercial thing. And that is all it is now. It is simply the 6 clubs who make the most money. And some people would define that as, therefore they're the biggest clubs. But we know that there's a lot more to it than that. And I've said this before, I do think there is only a very small amount of teams who could go down to the Championship and could fall on really hard times, but then get back in the Champions League in 5 years. Bolton aren't going to do that. Blackburn aren't going to do that. With respect to those teams who themselves have a proud history, but Aston Villa can, Newcastle can. Some of those teams are able to do that. It's kind of thrown at Villa, they were relegated to the Championship. Therefore, how can they be a big club? They've only been in the league for this amount of years. Firstly, Villa were relegated 10 years ago. And secondly, the Premier League is just a slice of history that Aston Villa have helped create. Do you know what I mean? So I think
we're preaching for the converted here of Villa fans that are listening.
Well, clip this up, Spurs fans. I just think it's so sort of disrespectful just to look at the Premier League and the big 6. It's so like, come on, we're talking about a little slice of history and one thing that determines if you're a big club. Which, again, frankly, I think Daniel Levy's put Spurs in this position. They are in the capital. They've got this huge stadium. I think if they didn't have that stadium and it was just White Hart Lane, I think we probably would be overtaking them right now. But they have a huge revenue to call on, and that is thanks to Daniel Levy. And he gets a lot of stick from Spurs fans, and I don't get into that. But I said it before, he's positioned them now. They're going to have revenues forever, as long as they stay in the Premier League, because they will continue to make money out of that stadium. And in this day, that is really important. Yeah. Villa's card is that we have Unai Emery, and we have an incredibly supportive ownership group as well, and everything else that comes with it. Identity, Villa Park, trophies, historic sort of backdrop to where we are now. All of those things help to put us in a position where we can go from 16th in the Championship, because we've had terrible ownership, to then going right back up to being in the title talks and 5 years, 6 years later. So, yeah, it's just a commercial six for me. I don't know what the future holds in terms of Big Six, top eight, all those different things. But Villa will always be in conversations of one of the most, proudest clubs that there can be in English football, and that is for us. That's fine. We know what we are,
Yeah, and a large part of how we've been able to surpass Tottenham on the pitch, at least, is because of Emery. I think we finished above them in every season in Emery's tenure, I think. Yeah. And will do again this season. So, when we get promoted, now I think we're a million years away from Tottenham. We were at that point, but we're going to finish above them for 4 seasons in a row. We're going to have Champions League twice, in my opinion, during that time. Yeah. They're a super club, Champions League finalists and loads of money to spend. And they've still got some of those things, but they've made lots of on-pitch decisions that have been wrong for 2 or 3 years now. So we're now at a point where you talk about a big six or a commercial six or history or whatever. Since Emery's been here, Villa are the 4th best team on the pitch in terms of points accumulated during that time. Yeah. So that's where we are.
My final point is that someone mentioned in this video that I was talking about, they were saying but in the Premier League era, Spurs have got more points than Villa. Again, that's just a slice of history. In English football history, Aston Villa have many more points than Tottenham. So we can play, the long game or just a time period of 25 years, 30 years or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to Wobbly Bobbly Bonbon, who says, can we fight on 3 fronts, Premier League top 4, Europa League and FA Cup, without jeopardising all 3? Now, I think it'll be difficult to fight on all 3 fronts without jeopardising one of them. I think to jeopardise all 3 would be, again, a serious blow up somewhere for us to effectively not win the FA Cup or the
Europa
League,
that would be one mad FA Cup 4th round game if we
to Blues, yeah, exactly. So yeah, we could absolutely jeopardise one of those competitions. Obviously, the FA Cup primarily at the moment is all dependent on the draw, because there's still so long in it to go. Villa will at least be in the knockouts of the Europa League. We'll see what happens there as we go further into the season. And I think we're a shoo-in for the top 4. So something will have to give unless we add a lot of high-quality depth in January, which is a talking point we'll get to soon, I'm sure. But if one was to give, it's between one of the cup competitions.
Well, we know what the priorities are for Emery, so we can answer it pretty simply. Premier League, Europa League, FA Cup, that is the priority.
In that order, yeah.
And the team selection will be based on that. Obviously, we've respected the FA Cup so far in one game, and I expect that we do that again, unless it's, again, I hate to talk about the draw, because it's going to happen and people are going to, but if we get a lower ranked team at home, we're not going to play as strong a team as what we did against Spurs away, I wouldn't have thought. But, as we'll get to again, Villa are trying to make additions in January. We are trying to bolster the squad. But right now, we don't know how that's going to look in a couple of weeks. So you'd almost want to reserve judgment of, are we able to do that until February the 2nd? But I would still think that, no, I don't think we'll be able to play as well as, or get all the results we get in the Premier League and go to the final of the Europa League and get to the final of the FA Cup. Like, I think there's a lot.
That'll be some season.
But yeah, on paper, it feels like, well, yeah, but if you get a good draw in the FA Cup and if you consider, it's so easy to just say those things, but it's so much harder to every day prepare for new games, have no rest. What is the drop off between this player to that player? Where are the injuries? How are we going to? There's so many different question marks that crop up. And on January 12th, we can talk about the season, but it's just so early to do so. All we can do here is just predict that, yeah, I think we'll be okay. But it's not very informative for anyone. So what I would say to that is that I think that we'll be able to juggle the Premier League and the Europa League. The FA Cup just feels to me like it's an additional opportunity. If, like in the last season, we can put some wins together at home and then with respect to Preston, get a championship team in the game where if you win, you get to Wembley. That was a nice, yes, we played Spurs and West Ham and two Premier League teams. But that's actually probably an easier draw than what we usually get, to be fair. But if the draw suits us, is essentially what I'm saying, then I think that we can be okay. And then it's about how do you manage each game. But right now, Premier League and Europa League, I'm confident we can do both.
Okay, the next one is from Robbie Savage's soft nose. Could the potential Gallagher signing give an indication of what could be occurring with Tielemans? Now, we'll come back to Gallagher in more detail. There's no real contract progress shared. He has value on the market, and flipping him would be pure profit. I envisage plenty of takers. I'd hate to see him go, but could understand the logic. What we always say is, Villa are generally good sellers. They've found the right time. Players don't often go into the final 2 years of their deal. However, I think he's absolutely crucial and I would hate to see him leave. And I don't think he will leave. Contracts will be whirring away in the background and feels like a post-winter window job anyway. Does the signing of Gallagher give us any indication that we might lose a midfielder? Maybe. Don't know. But Tielemans, is that a worry?
I can give a bit of positive news on Tielemans if you want it, actually. So,
go on then.
2028 is what we've been told. Yeah.
Really?
So,
is this breaking news?
No, it's not. I would say it's breaking news. I think it's news that
it is to me.
Wasn't. It's to you. Welcome, Dan. Here is the news. So that is more comfortable. I would still say you need a new deal though.
Have you shared this news, by the way? I've not seen this.
No.
I need to clip this up now. Hold on a minute.
I'm almost certain that it was 2027. Its contract. It's all widely reported everywhere. But 2028 is apparently what we're going off now. So for me, that's still a player who's in need of a new deal, though, because entering the final 2 years of his deal in the summer rather than 1 year is better, but still, work needs to be done there. I think the only thing I would say again, and what I said before, quickly check Tielemans' age. I believe he's 28. He is 28, so he's going to turn 29 in May. Again, I hate to say this sort of thing, but we are still in a position in the financial rules, especially UEFA's rules, where Villa will need to make money from players still. And we have, as I say, up until this point, I think sold pretty well. And again, like I said about Concert, I'm not saying it's about Tielemans. Tielemans is probably my favourite footballer at Villa right now. But at the same time, we do have to be wary. Do we continue to hand out new deals and increase our wage bill even more, or do we sell at the right time before a player gets to 30, 31? That's for the club to decide. I'm not paid to make those decisions, but it's something that we all have to be aware of. I don't think we can let kind of 8 of our 11 reach the age of 29, 30. And again, not that would mean their performances and the performances won't be as good as what they are. If anything, they might even improve. It's just for the sale value in the market. What is their market value? And it's going to depreciate after the age of 29, you'd have thought. So, just some sort of decision for us to think about. But equally, as I say, I'm not making those decisions. I'm just saying that in terms of selling players, which I don't think is so bad as what it's sort of made out to be, we've proven that we can do that and continue to do it. But it's just who do we, want to put on those new deals. I would love to see Tielemans sign a new deal, but we'll see where that goes.
Okay, next question. I'm going to do 2 here because they're both kind of about the same thing. Firstly, from João Paulinia's anger management counsellor, with the rumours of Roma being interested in Malen, would you sacrifice him if it enabled us to strengthen the squad this window? Are there any other players you consider sacrificing as well, or instead of, to give us more room to make moves elsewhere? And from Lovre Kalanic's clean sheet, do you ever get a clean sheet? It feels unlikely to me. I've seen these Malen rumours. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes. We know most are up for sale. He also doesn't appear to fit as a number 9, or Emery wouldn't want to bring in Tammy if the rumours are to be believed. We'll get to Tammy separately. And Malen doesn't fit our right winger role either. Shame, as he does make a good impact when he plays. So let's keep this about Malen to begin with, rather than delve into the Tammy Abraham rumours, which I know there are further questions about. This seems to be gathering a little bit of pace, the Malen stuff. Have you got any further updates?
As I always send these transfer videos or in the window, as of 11:30 on January the 12th, the information right now is that, Roma would like to take Malen. Villa's stance on it will become clearer, but I don't think we can be surprised if they're open to it, because as Malen started
I saw somebody on social media
league
describe him
games.
as the January Diaby. Signed in January and then moved on.
I wish we could get 50 million from him, but yeah, I remember talking about some weeks ago. Last January, Villa sold £100 million of talent and then recruit some players. What would be the version of that for Villa this January? And in the starting 11, I don't think you can sell any of those players. On the bench, as such, there's very few players to sell as well, apart from Malen, right? Because you're not going to sell Lindelof. I don't think you'd be selling Buendia in this window. Sancho is obviously on loan. Gesson's just joined. Halfway through the window, we'll see what happens. But in terms of Malen, that is a player who I think we could sell. And if replaced correctly, I don't think we'll feel it too much, if I've been perfectly honest. I know he's a fan favourite. I love Malen as well. But equally, we've seen him lead the line on his own. I think the Tottenham game was probably his best, actually, leading the line on his own. In terms
he was good against Tottenham.
Yeah, getting assist against for Buendia's goal, and also for the second goal, dragging wide, put the ball across. Terrible defending from Tottenham, but Rodgers finishes it. So I wouldn't be against offloading Malen if the price is right, and if Emery thinks that he can bring in a player who is more suited to his style. It's difficult because obviously he's only joined 12 months ago. But equally, if we're willing to offload him, I think that probably says everything, because we've had it now for with a few different players that Emery has kind of brought in, taken a look at, and thought actually not quite suited. And that was Diaby, although that was a sale that we were happy to make financially because of our position. Emery did not think that Diaby suited his team. We've seen Elliott come in and play 10 minutes of football. And now Malen, if he does stay in the window, I would still question, does he have a future? Because he's only starting a handful of games. I think he's more than an adequate squad player, and I'm happy to keep him if that's the case. Yeah. But if we need to be making some money to bring in other players, he probably is one of the few that you could look at and say, okay, if he goes, is there going to be a massive difference to that starting 11? No. On the bench, there would be, but then if Emery thinks there's another player there that he can bring in to make...
I agree with all that.
More, I think that's probably the truth of the matter.
I think I'd be surprised if Malen was here come the start of next season. So he either leaves now or in the summer. It's always never really felt like quite the right fit. We obviously had all the Champions League squad stuff last January. Very few minutes, really, very few starts. And I think he is an effective player, and as part of a squad that is challenging for the top 5 and cup competition, he absolutely can play his role. And if he does stay for the rest of the season, I'd back him to score a couple of goals here and there and be a good team player as well. He certainly seems to have the right attitude and the right kind of personality. So nothing against him whatsoever. But there's always been the bit of a niggle of, does he fit Emery's system? Have we recruited him, realised we've got it wrong and tried to move him on? Yeah, if that's the case, fine. I'd rather we address our mistakes than sit with them for 4 years and waste them away training with the under-21s. Pretty low fee as well, wasn't it, we signed him for? So
20 million, yeah. So if
you'd expect to get most of that back, surely.
Yeah, if we're looking at with a loan with an option, the option would have to be similar or a bit more than what we paid. Essentially, just getting your money back for a player who has scored. I'm not even sure. 10 goals, maybe.
I'd have said about 10
over the course of 12 months. But not starting many matches has been a good foil for Watkins when you're playing Basel and young boys. But personally, I don't want to see Malen starting or leading the line against Lyon away in a semi-final of Europa League. I think you need something more that Emery is, willing to give more minutes to and trust in that position.
So I think he's a good player, but I think I'd extend that out into next year. I don't think for Emery's system specifically, if we don't deem him to be good enough now, for want of a better phrase, if we are to be in the Champions League, which I do think we will be, you've raised the level again. So if he's not ready for the team now, he won't be ready for the team next season either. So I suspect he will be moved on at some stage for somebody else.
Which is a shame.
It is a shame, yeah. So, now, whether that's somebody else, I was about to go into another question, yeah. Go on. Whether that somebody else is Tammy Abraham is a completely different conversation. There are a few questions about Tammy. We're going to start first of all with Alexander Tonev, who says, if both of these were realistic transfers and you had to pick between two, who would you rather pick, Marmoush or Tammy? In this scenario, the chances of getting Tammy in the summer on a permanent deal are decent, but no chance for Marmoush because of his wages, which is fair. Personally, I think Marmoush does not seem like a real name. Now I've said it so many times. Personally, I think Marmoush is way more versatile and a very, very high-level player, but Tammy pulls at the heartstrings. Thoughts and opinions, and don't just say Tammy because it's more realistic. No, Marmoush is infinitely the better player.
Yeah, Marmoush is better footballer than Tammy Abraham, but there's much more to this than just selecting which player you want to play in your team.
From James, do you think fans, like Alexander Tonev, are romanticising the potential signing of Tammy based on what he did for us in the Championship, when in fact we should be aiming higher? So this kind of opens up the Tammy Abraham section, if you like.
Yeah.
I think he'd be a decent addition to the squad as a backup. If Emery thinks he fits his style better than Malen, I think that's a good exchange, if you like. If Malen is out and Tammy is in January and Emery wants that, I'm okay with that. Should we be aiming higher than Tammy? I'm not sure what that level is, to be perfectly honest. I think he's a good player. Doubts over injuries, potentially, the level he's played at over the years. Is he at Besiktas at the moment? I don't know what the situation is with... Is he on loan? Is it a permanent? What is his actual situation, Tammy?
So he joined Besiktas on loan back in the summer from Roma. He had so just painting a picture here. Summer of 2023, Villa were keen on Tammy. Emery was keen on Tammy. He then goes and suffers an ACL on the final game of that season. That's summer of 2023. Fast forward to now, Villa have obviously had Duran. Tammy joined Besiktas in the summer. Don't totally know why Villa didn't go then for him. Trying to do this on the spot. Who did we have? It was only Malen won it for as an option. And as we said, I think we were okay with that, probably to see how it goes. Clearly, Emery is wanting a different profile of striker, which I'm happy about. Said before, banging the DCL drum again, but that profile of striker I would like to see, and something different. And Tammy is more than just a target man. He looks like he's actually improved his hold-up play quite a lot. And when we obviously had him, he was very young and inexperienced to a point, especially at top-level football anyway. So it would be a different Tammy Abraham that's joining, a much more experienced one as well. So 28 years old now, birthday back in October. So still got some years ahead of him. That ACL is obviously a bit of a concern. So I loan Besiktas, and that would be turned into a permanent on certain conditions. So this would not be like a simple negotiation for Villa to do. I don't know this for certain, but Tammy, you'd have thought, would be jumping at the chance to come back to Villa. You'd have thought.
I'd have thought so, yeah.
I think it would be an incredible opportunity for him to not only play Premier League football again for a team that's going well, but there's no adaptation in terms of the area. He's obviously English. He'd be working under a manager who wanted to sign him before, and one of the best managers in world football. Yeah. There's so much there for him to like that. I think if we can get negotiation correct with the different parties, then we'd see him return. But yeah, there's obviously a bit to do here. It's not simple. You've obviously got Bailey on loan at Roma.
I was going to ask about that, yeah.
Marlen, Roma want Marlen. Roma put a striker on loan at Besiktas. We've got a Besiktas fall and says, this is pretty complex stuff. But let's just ignore all of that, which is stupid. But let's just say at the end of the window, Tammy Abraham's joined Villa. I'd love it, to be honst. I'd love it.
Is that the sentiment? Is it that he's a fan favourite and he got promoted?
Yeah, partially. And I'm not being like, what's the word? I'm not going to say that I'm not blinded. Yeah, of course. I love the player. I love the character. That's good, no?
Yeah.
I think we want someone to come in and have a rapport with the fans and be positive from the get-go. He knows John McGinn. He knows Tyrone Mings. He knows... maybe no one else.
He will know others, but he didn't play with the others.
Yeah, sure. And I'm sure he'll get on straight away and fit in with the dressing room if he was to join, because it's such a, he's got the keys to the dressing room already. He goes in and it's simple. The adaptation, I don't think would be quick. It would be quick in terms of that. On the pitch, we'll see. But I think if Emery wants a player, usually there's quite a quick adaptation period there, i.e. Rodgers didn't take long. Torres, different, but didn't take long at all. Tammy hopefully wouldn't either if he joined. But yeah, I'd be really positive about it. he scored. The season he scored 7 goals in 17, which in the Turkish league people will say, all right, whatever. But scoring goals in any league, as long as it's a decent, somewhat competitive, it's still something that should cost a lot of money. And how many number 9s are there in the Premier League that you can kind of count on to score goals? I don't think there's that many. And I think Tammy Abraham would do that for most teams in that division. Put him under Emery in a system that would allow him to flourish, because Emery would be signing him for that reason. I'd be excited about it, and say his holder play has definitely improved as well. He was on loan at AC Milan last season. Again, another experience for him. So I don't want to say he's been around the block, because that doesn't sound quite right, but he's got lots of different experiences and played under different managers with different teammates. I think this is probably a much more rounded player than what we had back definitely. In the Championship. Since the end of September, has only gone maximum of 2 games without not scoring. So Tammy Abraham scores goals. We know that will never change. He's always going to be in the right position to take chances. It's the other parts of his game that I'd be concerned is too negative. That I'd be kind of questioning. Like, let's see what he has. But what do we know about Tammy Abraham? The guy scores goals. So that I don't think can be painted as negative. I would quickly add that some people will then say, well, what's the difference between him and Malen? Would you rather have Malen or Tammy?
Very different. They're
very different. And that is almost the reason why I'd rather have Tammy. Because
what we're seeing with Malen hasn't worked. It's a bit harsh, but you know what I mean?
In the way of, we know that Malen is not the replacement for Watkins that Emery wants. And we've seen some games that is the truth. He gets lost in some matches when he is playing alone up top. I think it's fantastic playing off Watkins in a certain system that we don't play with any sort of regularity. So that is a bit void, to be honest. I think he'll flourish elsewhere, Malen. But clearly we want something different. Who's better, Tammy or Malen? In the right systems, you'd probably say Malen. But for Villa and what Tammy is and what he represents as well, I think that would probably be a wiser decision and probably a cheaper one as well.
Yeah, I mean, firstly, cost and stuff is something I've not even thought about. We'll come back to that in a second. Just on the sentimentality side of it, as a supporter, I think it's easy to get lost in that of like, oh, Tammy, he's back. He's already got a chance. The Luke Roper kick. Perfect memories of someone like Tammy Abraham.
Can't wear the old kit, mate.
No, he can if he wants. Sure, he wants, mate. That's part of his contract. Got to wear the Luke Roper kit. I'm not coming. Scored loads of goals. Very, very lovely memories of Tammy Abraham. Goes away back to Chelsea. There's obviously the talk with Wolves when we were trying to get promoted. Was it? Yeah. Of course it would have been.
2019.
Lots has happened. He's now, like you said, gone and played different clubs, different managers. He was 22 odd when he was with us. He's now 28. Different life, just different.
Yep.
I think if we'd got a lesser manager than Emery and we were in the Conference League and we were a mid-table club under Gerrard or Smith or whoever, I would then be a bit like, oh, is this a bit, let's get the lads back together kind of vibe. If Emery wants him, he won't be bothered about that at all. He won't be thinking that, oh yeah, he's played it before and that he's a fan favourite, so let's get him in because it's good vibes. It's not that. If Emery wants him, he thinks he's good for the system and will score goals and be a good backup to Watkins or be able to replace Watkins. Who knows? I'm not that bothered about are we getting blinded by that he was just good in the Championship and let's just hope he's good like the good old days, because I don't think Emery is that. We know Emery is not that kind of character anyway.
Yeah, and I would look at this positively and say that I want a player to come in and maybe hit the ground running, know the club, have a rapport with the fans. I don't see that as a negative at all. I get it if it was a situation like you've just painted there, Dan, and we're in a bit of, a bit of a negative time, and you said we're trying to kind of get the fans up or whatever it may be. But that isn't why we're doing this. Emery wanted to sign him before. We've looked at him previously, and we're in that same position again. So, yeah, I'd more than welcome Tammy back as a player. I think he would definitely add something to the squad, especially something that we don't have at the moment. So that's one big tick. The second big tick is that, again, he has a report. This would not be someone who is comes in as a completely unknown. It's the opposite. So I'd welcome it. I think it would be absolutely a good addition. We can talk about other things about, but why don't you put your money here? Or why don't you just keep Malen and do this? None of those things will be... Malen is not all of a sudden after this winter window, if he stays, going to start matches. and be
No.
the number 9 that we want, or that Emery wants him to be. That's not happening. It's just not. So I'd much rather sign a striker who Emery wants to, or will have more trust in, and has pursued previously, and clearly likes the profile of, which probably brings you on to Gallagher, I presume.
No, I've no specific question further about Gallagher, but we obviously touched on him already. If you had to, we kind of, I don't know, predict the future, get your crystal ball out, will Conor Gallagher and or Tammy Abraham be Villa players come the start of February? What would your gut reaction to those be? And are they loans with options to buy potentially?
Gallagher and Tammy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, at this, as we record right now, Atletico want a permanent sort of resolution to Gallagher's future, which I presume they'd be okay with an obligation, loan to obligation. I wouldn't have thought that they're a club who is in need of cash right now.
Loan Gallagher now with a 30 million obligation in the summer or something like that.
And I don't think that would be a Harvey Elliott situation where Emery doesn't play him, because again, this is a player he's been wanting for a long time.
Can't happen ever again.
Yeah, and I think would be another, or I say another. Tammy, I hope if he joins, would be a good addition. But I'm even more confident about Gallagher. I think I really want to see that. I really want to see Gallagher under Emery. I just think the guy's been chasing him for so long. Gallagher has all the assets to be a player who can thrive in this system as well. I need to see it. So yeah, it's another one that I'd be excited about. How that works out in terms of the deal, wages, all those different things. Yeah, let's find out. It's pretty early in terms of Villa's interest as such. There isn't at this stage any sort of deal being agreed or close to being agreed. Maybe that happens in the next few days, but as I talk now, Villa have an interest. You anticipate that they will firm that up, but what that looks like, let's find out. But Gallagher and Tammy, plus Alisson and Brian Maggio, yeah. I think they'll be strong. I don't know if that would be even the end of it, to be honest, because look across some of the different positions in the team and you say, well, that right wing position, is Alisson ready? The right back situation, Garcia doesn't have the trust of Emery at the moment, so would we need to add anything there? But then always go back to the finances. Are we in a position to add more, or do we have to, take a step back first and then go again? But just from the outset, yeah, I'd welcome Tammy and I'd absolutely welcome Gallagher as well. I think it's a player who would add an awful lot to the team. He's only started 4 games in the league this season for Atletico, but played in all of their 27 matches. So a player who is used by Simeone a lot, but the player himself will surely be thinking, yeah, I love Madrid, but is this the best for my career moving forward? Clearly, he is surplus to requirements. So he scored against Madrid in the last 16 of the Champions League last season in the first minute. I didn't watch that game, but that's what it says online. Yeah, and turns 26 in February, so has a lot of years ahead of him. I actually thought he might have been a bit older than that, but
yeah, I thought he would as well.
Only 25 as we talk now. So yeah, definitely a player I think's got a lot to give. Especially under Emery, very tenacious, aggressive. You feel like if McGinn can't play a game, that's okay because you've got Conor Gallagher. He's going to be doing all the pressing. He's going to be doing the ratting around. I think he made the most fouls in the Premier League for Chelsea in his last season at Chelsea, so 2 seasons ago now. Most fouls in the league, but then also was in the top 8 or top 9 for fouls drawn. So that sums him up a little bit. All action, let's say tenacious, aggressive. I don't think you can ever have too much of that in your squad. And of course, he has quality as well. The goal that he scored at Villa Park in that 2-2 a couple of seasons ago, top quality, that goal.
Couple of quick ones next from Emmy's Embarrassed Trophy. Hello, lads. This is for John. I love this.
Here we go.
Are you ever recognised on your post-match walk and talk? And would it ever be away fans? If so, any stories worth telling? Now, I love the idea of you walking out of Selhurst Park and a Palace fan going, "There's John Townley." Like, has that ever happened?
No. I've had, Villa fans, yes, which is always good. But no, not away fans.
No,
I think the day that
he's doing a walk and talk. Wow.
I think the day that happens, the day I pack it in, to be fair. No, I don't think away fans. No.
Home fans, I've seen clips or footage of you shouting somebody down the road or something.
yeah.
It's a charm.
Brighton, go ahead Eagles. Yeah, nice. Yeah, it's good laugh.
A quick one from me on behalf of Kendrick from Steve. Hi lads, great show as always. My question is, where are Kendrick's voice notes? They were short and sweet but interesting. Any chance of a return? I think we've got a planning meeting next week, John, where we're going to discuss some different bits and pieces. And one of my things to discuss with Matt is the voice notes. I really enjoyed those as well. We have talked about it privately about whether we can bring it back and maybe for video as well somehow, that it can be a YouTube thing as well as audio only. But yeah, Kendrick getting on his soapbox for 10 minutes once a week was a nice little kind of bonus little dish for people to tuck into. So if we can bring it back, we will. It's obviously dependent on his availability as much as anything. If Villa can carry on their 2025 form into the end of January and throughout February, there's some very winnable games in the next 6 weeks, and 99% guarantee top four by putting themselves into a title challenge, would you prefer we sacrifice the Europa League to try and concentrate on winning the Premier League, or sacrifice a title charge to try and win the Europa League, or risk it all and go for both?
Go for broke. I'd be happy with
if we were to win the next. Let's say we won 5 out of 6 Premier League games, and you are then, if we're saying we need to win 7 or so for Champions League, to win 5 out of 6 with 10 to go, Champions League's done. Basically, you're going to win another 2 or 3 at least out of 10. You would then be in some kind of, maybe not a title challenge come March, because you'd still probably say it's too early. But if we're 4 or 5 points off the top come March, you're getting close to the territory that you're definitely in it. Then the Europa League knockouts come as well. You are going to have to prioritise something. Do you just stick or twist on, okay, well, we've got Champions League, that's enough, onto the cups? Or do you think, you know what, we're never going to have a better chance to maybe go and win the league?
I don't think we need to. I don't think we need to sacrifice. I get it, but I guess it's hypothetical at the same time, because I don't think we will be in a position where we have to sacrifice it. So say with 6 games remaining, we're 3 points off Arsenal in second or third or whatever. We're going to continue to go to try and win the league, absolutely. And we're going to try and beat, I always say Lyon away in the semi-finals, and we'll try and beat Lyon away in the semi-finals. I think we'll manage both if that came to it. What would I rather win, the Premier League or the Europa League? The Premier League. Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, some people might be shocked at that. I think it's come across maybe that I'd rather win the Europa League than the Champions League at some points. But
if we won the Premier League but didn't win the Europa League, would you still be saying it was a failure?
Yeah, if you separate it, no, hold on. If you separate it, you got to separate the competitions. No, but I wouldn't.
That was very Carrot. That was.
There, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be like critical. I would just say, well, no. Hold on. I separate the competitions. Forget the Premier League, right? Europa League. Boom. We need to win the competition because we're the best team. Simples. Premier League. If we win the Premier League, I wouldn't give it 2. Like, that is that's fine. We're not gonna do a big video on that. Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. Right, from Josie, first of all, a long one here. I was wondering why you guys don't rate Buendia. This isn't a criticism. It's just you've mentioned a few times that you'd sell him. Is it due to the cruciate ligament injury? Emery was willing to sell him because of the concern around the injury, but like we were willing to sell Duran and Ramsey, but because there's never been a concern over quality. In Emery's first season, he was a key player and was set to start the Newcastle game. First game of the season, we got 4th. Even at Gerrard, he impressed. He is genuinely one of the most naturally talented players I've seen at Villa, and I fully expect him to start for Argentina at the World Cup.
Ooh.
I don't think he'll start for Argentina, and I don't think he's one of the most naturally talented players I've seen at Villa. Either, Josie, if you've not been watching Villa very long, or your standards are different to mine. I think he's a good player. I know. All right. I think
Fight.
No. That's not my intention at all. Is Buendia a good footballer? Yes. Is he one of the most naturally talented players I've ever seen for Villa? No. Buendia. Is he what? Oh, John, you're a bit younger than me. Is he one of the most naturally talented players you've ever seen at Villa?
No, he's not. But I understand what Joseph's saying.
I think he's a good player, and he's been useful for us, and he's been better this season than he's ever been for us in terms of output. Right? Is it 6 or 7 goals? His best return already with however many games to go. So he's done well, and he's challenged my expectations of him. I was very critical at the start of the season. I rode back on that a little bit. I think I've started to row forward again a little bit. There's been times where I don't think he's been good enough for where we want to be over the last few weeks. He was obviously very good at Tottenham, though. Just quickly, from Lily, as a bit of balance, I'd been a bit annoyed with Buendia for trying to be cute with a flick back at the worst possible moments instead of just clearing the ball or picking out a pass. However, the moment for a cute little flick finally came against Tottenham. Good for you, Emery. And I agree with that. He was good against Tottenham.
Yeah.
Man of the match.
We've probably said it as well. He's been brilliant. This is the best I could have expected Emery Buendia to have contributed to this season. Absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't think I've been very positive about him. I would just row back a little bit from the kind of suggestion that he's better than what we think he is, if that makes sense. Like, I think Buendia is a very good Premier League player. He's been absolutely fantastic for us this season. He's done everything that I wanted him to. He's won games, been involved in key moments, but he's not going to start ahead of Rodgers. He's not going to, if we sign Gallagher, start ahead of Gallagher, if Gallagher plays in the 10.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's always, I don't think Buendia is going to win a place in the starting 11 for a campaign or two campaigns, if that makes sense.
I agree.
For example, when you go back 2 seasons ago, it was Kamara and Louise, Tielemans 10, McGinn and Bailey, if I'm right, as our sort of best team, and Diaby would usually come off the bench, or maybe Diaby would be in the team. But that was sort of the team. Now, if I paint the team for Villa, Buendia may be in that starting 11 for some people, but then probably won't be for others. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but I think he gets enough. I think he gets the credit he deserves this season, and I think that's it. We've seen Buendia struggle at Villa. We've seen him play well for Villa, but I'm not going to sort of.
Let's not forget we spent 30 million on him. Like he's that kind of level of player, and for 3 or 4 years of his Villa career, he's not delivered, and he's gone out on loan, and we've been open to selling him. This year, he's been better than we expected, but that doesn't now make me think he's a top 4 Premier League player. Yeah,
put it this way: I don't think Buendia can be better than this, and that's okay because I think he's doing great, and that's it really. Like, I think if he's doing better than this, you're looking at a 50 million, 60 million pound player, and I don't think he is that. And I don't think that's disrespectful. The ACL injury, I think, he's come back from very well, probably as best as again we could have wished for. But yeah, the facts remain that Villa were happy to let him go. Then they kept him this summer. He's impressed. He's done very well. But do I see him long term being a player that Villa can count in the starting 11? No. But in the squad, absolutely. And that's fine. And I celebrate that. It's not a negative for me. How many players have come through Villa, been signed and then sold because they're not actually up to it? Buendia has, one way or another, been involved or is now involved in one of the most, successful in terms of points in the Premier League anyway, teams that Villa have had in the Premier League era at the moment. So that's great. Like, I'm positive about him. I wouldn't want to sort of give a sort of false expectation on him from myself to say that next season you need to score 15 goals and get 15 assists like Rodgers does, or that sort of thing. I don't think he's capable of that. I hope he is, but I wouldn't want to sort of set that expectation on him. Whereas I think Rodgers can get to that level. Buendia, maybe not, and that's fine.
A disappointed Chelt Villa says, get your priorities right. Last week, Dan, you told us about the guy that was bragging about his long unbeaten run, how he's only missed Arsenal, Palace and Palace again. I'm sure you'll now be plagued with people talking about their fantastic runs that they're on. Please, you need to stop indulging this. It is clear to me now that those results against Arsenal and Palace are actually the fault of the person in question. If they'd attended, we wouldn't have lost. We'd now be playing Champions League football and have won the FA Cup. Unai would have his statue and I'd be enjoying watching Marcus Rashford, who would surely have turned down Barcelona. Please can you remind all Lucky Villa fans of their responsibilities? If this is attendance, Lucky Pants, a Smoky Joe's hot dog or a programme from a certain seller, you must keep it up. Interesting framing on that fella's massive unbeaten run. That is actually, if he'd have come to those games, we would still be unbeaten. Full stop.
Can you get his name back? I don't know if it was Barry Bannon's extra small shorts, but
I don't think it was.
That was a name from a previous episode, by the way. Before anyone says,
no, just Johnson.
What John's point. He just said.
They're an hour into this one. I'm sure they know what's going on at this point. An interesting way of looking at it. We didn't have anybody else actually come to us in the mailbag, at least. Anyway, I didn't check social media of runs that they had been on. I did see somebody in the YouTube comments say something like, "My wife has been on an unbeaten run since like 1985 or something. However, she's only been to 2 games during that time, so that's why.
I don't know if
It doesn't really count. No, it doesn't.
Work,
It's something like she's on a 40-year unbeaten run. However, she's only been to 2 games. Yeah, that guy I don't think will ever be beaten. 40-odd games unbeaten is remarkable. Right, penultimate proper question before we do a couple of silly hypotheticals. They're back from Ben. There seems to be a lot of thoughts amongst the fan base and neutral fans that once, I don't really want to do this. It's a negative one to end. I didn't really want to do this one. We'll do it anyway. Thoughts amongst neutral fans that once Emery goes, it all comes crashing down, similar to how it did under O'Neill. You see why I didn't want to do it? But I don't think it's impossible that Villa do manage to compete at the top even without him. Surely we trust our owners enough by now. A bit long, I know, but would love to know your thoughts on this. Oh, Ben, don't worry. We've had longer messages than that one. I am inclined to agree. I think of course, like everybody, when that, I don't know, club statement, corner flag is tweeted that Unai Emery has left Villa for whatever reason, sacked, resigned, retired.
I hope it's not a corner flag.
Well, you know what I mean.
That would spell bad news.
That notification will fill me with dread, I'm sure, as everybody else. However, if Villa continue what they're doing now under Emery and he leaves on good terms because he's been, I don't know, tapped up to go and manage a super club or a national team, or he does retire with Villa because he's here for another 20 years or whatever, Villa are surely in a position that they've been good during that time and can replace him with somebody else that's good and continue the good work. That is obviously what Villa will be hoping for.
Yeah.
If Emery is sacked in 2 years' time because it all goes up, that's a different conversation anyway, because Villa won't have been good because Unai Emery gets sacked. So in the good scenario that he does good work, then yeah, I do back us to find somebody else to carry on the good work. But I'm sure Manchester United would have felt the same, and they're still, trying to replace Sir Alex 12 years later. It's not easy to do that. Liverpool replacing Klopp with Slot and win the league, brilliant, and now that's kind of gone poorly as well in the second season. So it's not easy, but you'd have to back the infrastructure at the club to hopefully make the right decision to carry on Emery's legacy, if you like.
Yeah, and that's why it's obviously concerning, because that's all we can do. There's no, I again start by saying I hope that's way down the line and we don't have to worry about this for a while. But I think simply if you asked 98% of the Villa fan base, are you worried about the time when Emery comes to leave? Yeah, why would you not be? This is the most, one of the most, or arguably the best manager we've ever had. Best in my lifetime, absolutely. So how could I be anything else but a little bit concerned? And obviously we've built a club around him as well, which interesting, because the top 3 clubs in the league, Arsenal, City and Villa, have all essentially given power to their managers, and they're seeing the rewards of that. Chelsea, Man United and Tottenham have not done that. They've got a bit of a structure around them, and a few decisions aren't absolutely taken by their head coaches, and look where they are. So it's pretty clear what the success strategy should be if you're a club like us. But yeah, it's one for the future. But if you ask me now, are you worried? Yeah, how could I not be? And that's not me being like, I'm worried now. No, not worried now. But if you ask, I'm going to be honest, how could we not be anything? Am I excited? Of course not. It's imagine that. So yeah. When the day comes, the day comes. But for now, just continue to enjoy what we're doing. Going back from the Tottenham game, I was thinking I was going to write him a walk and talk or whatever, as the caption. I remember the days when we struggled to get past the third round of the FA Cup. It's mad. Those things we don't take for granted at all. But in fact, it's the opposite. I don't take for granted anything that we're doing under Emery, and that's the reason why. Because I know that we, for 7 years, couldn't get past the third round. There's so much that we've achieved, even small things under Emery, that we're a completely different club. So yeah, how could we not be anything other than worried about when that day comes? But also a lot of preparation and planning would have to go into that too. So right now, it's obviously not something that anyone's looking at.
Do you think we'll still be doing the podcast when that time comes?
Yeah. Why would we not be?
I don't know. If it's 20 years in the future, we might not be.
Have you got anything planned?
No. Let's go carry on, shall we? A couple of hypothetical scenarios to end. First one from Raniel Dolinson. If Evon Gesson plays to the level he's played at this season, but somehow managed to score the winner in one of the cup finals, then leaves at the end of the season, would he go down as a Villa legend? By the way, hold on a minute. By the way, I do think he'll improve and would be better off the left. If Evan Gesson left in the summer after scoring the winner in the Europa League final, is he not a Villa legend?
No.
What is it? Icon? Hero?
Just a
cult hero?
Yeah, you'd be a hero. If you scored the goal that wins Villa a cup, you'd have to be a hero.
Here's a question for the Spurs fans who are still listening an hour in. Is Brennan Johnson a Spurs legend?
No, he's not. He can't be a legend. Well, sorry, I'm not a Spurs fan. I'm speaking on behalf of them. He can't be a legend. He can't be. A legend is reserved for, and I'm always pretty on it about these things, that's reserved for what have you done? Like, what has your club achieved? What have they done? We've won the European Sorry, but we've won the European Cup.
Yeah.
There's legends in that team.
Yeah.
If we win, if Gesson, who so far hasn't had a great career at Villa, scores a goal to win a trophy which is second in class to the trophy which the legends won, how could he be a legend? For me, no. He'd be a hero because the description of a hero is something, someone who's but no hero.
Yeah, it's much eeasier if they're
someone
for a hero.
That's made everyone
heroic.
Yeah.
This last one from Ollie. I think we could spend ages on this, but you might get through it pretty quick. Would you rather win the Premier League once this year, for example, but then never finish in the top 4 again and be an 8th to 12th place team, presumably forever? Yep. Or finish 2nd to 4th every single season and go deep in cup competitions, but never actually go over the line? I think that's really hard.
Will you go for forevermore without winning a trophy?
I think it is the second one.
What would be the point? What would be the point in going to a semi-final of a Champions or a Europa League or whatever, knowing you're going to lose?
Well, yeah, there is that.
I would find a flaw in the question that either way, your existence is kind of meaningless after this. Because you're not going to win anything.
You'd have to change the parameters to be that there's a chance that you'll lose the finals, but it isn't guaranteed. If it's guaranteed, you're never going to win anything again. How could you be excited? I mean, we weren't excited for the FA Cup third round anyway, but how can you be excited for a cup competition round if you're definitely not going to win it?
I wouldn't even celebrate winning the Premier League.
Well, this is the thing, right? So, you can win the Premier League once, but then you're resigned to mid-table mediocrity forever.
I wouldn't even celebrate it. The point of having supporting a team is that because anything is, unless you're a Strasbourg fan, anything is possible. You can reach any heights you want. It's hard if you're a Brentford fan. You are capped to a point because you're always going to have to sell your players. And, if you're Strasbourg, you literally can't play in the same competition as the team that owns you. But that's the point, right? You need to have some sort of encouragement that you can do something and you can do what this team have done. Every team is looking at Villa and thinking, I wish we could do what Villa's done.
Oh,
that's us.
Yeah.
So if we win the Premier League, but then you say that, all right, that's it. All right, whatever.
I think of the two, you're right. Both are ultimately rendered themselves.
I'd rather the first one because at least you get one trophy.
I think the second one's better.
Why is it better?
Because, let's say this is for the rest of your life, right? So we're 25 and 30-ish. Let's say we both die at 85. Another 60 years, okay? For the next 60 years, Villa finish second every single year for 60 years in a row. What a nearly club that is. Never get over second in 60 years. But my point is, if as a supporter, I see Villa win lots of games to finish second for 60 years.
For what though? What's the point in going
but there's
to
no point to the second one either, really. In the first one, sorry.
That's kind of a point. I think both...
They're both pretty crap, aren't they, Ollie?
No, it's a good... We're talking about it. It's a good question, but it's... the reason why we support football clubs, for different reasons, but why?
No, I don't agree. I don't agree.
You don't, right? So in 4 years, right, you go to Malen, you win 2-0. Why are you happy about winning that game? I'm happy because for different reasons, but mainly because it helps you. We've got 3 more points on the board to achieve something. Oh wait, we can't though.
Yeah, I know. This is the point where they're both poor. My thinking is win the league this year. And then for the other 59 years, we're going to be mid-table. And to be mid-table, we're going to lose games and experience losing. If we're going to be second every year, you at least know you're winning games. Entertainment.
To do what?
entertainment.
Yeah, but
really low level. Just I'm enjoying watching the football.
Yeah, really low level because what's the point in winning if there's no end goal to it? We're just going to be a number on Wikipedia. Aston Villa seasons. Oh, Villa finished 4th in that season. They finished 3rd in that season. Fantastic.
Yeah.
But you need a 1 next to FA Cup. You need a 1 next to Europa League. You want 1 next to Champions League. Whatever it is, you have to win things. And that's kind of what the question's saying.
Let us know in the comments of those 2 scenarios which you prefer. Win once and then be resigned to crap forever, or be pretty good forever but not actually get over the line. I think it might be the second one.
What's the point in finishing 4th or 8th if it means the same thing?
I don't know. I just want to see us win some matches. I'll imagine the scenario that we've won something. It's easy to do that, I think. That's my shout out for the comments. If you stay to the end, get involved with that final question. Thanks for doing this one, John. It's been a long old recording session, but we did have a little break halfway through for a little emergency planning meeting. But good one. Some good questions in there. Thanks everyone for getting involved. We will be back with something else on Wednesday, possibly transfer related. We are looking to bring back Claret and Blue at some point as well, the show where me, you and Matt Kendrick get together for half an hour and chat Villa. That might come back next week, and then we'll build up to Everton towards the weekend. So, John, thanks for joining me on this one. Thank you for watching along or listening, and we'll see you on Wednesday. Or possibly Tuesday if breaking news happens. We'll let you know. See you soon. Bye-bye.